Melissa was doing this like, hey, hello, they're in here. If you just looked. I was like, really? But nothing had been said. I said, while people were eating, I said, you're talking to a couple of those guys in that room. I never once even opened the back. I talked to Dave a little bit before the meeting, but.
Yeah, I was just gonna put it in there. Why are they talking about it?
I should have been.
What? They know where to go if they.
Like, hey, thank you for the contacting whoever was in central office on that bridge in San Francisco.
No problem. I was.
You came back with all this stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it wasn't me. I contacted our, we have two different guys, one that kind of concentrates on staff and one on BRO, and I asked the one that does BRO, Ian Seiler,
Mhm.
and he just asked our LPA bridge guy, and he found them somehow.
Okay.
I don't know where they got them. I have no idea. I was like, thank you. I will take it.
Yeah. And I told Chris, I said, hey, I'm going to defer to you. You know, if you think some of this is helpful, I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of pages.
And he said, I think it's pretty good information. I'm going to pass it on. So
Just send them to them. They can.
absolutely,
sift through it, I guess.
if they want it, they can use it.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't helpful, then that's all we got.
That's all we got,
And
yeah.
so,
Get on some of those older bridges, which I had another county ask me about one, and I didn't ask Jeff City. I was like, that's the one we probably won't have anything, so I probably should go back and ask now that we're talking about that, because they might have something.
they might. That was from 1982.
No,
I mean,
I'm talking about
floored.
87. Yeah, me too.
And honestly, I think the bridge was constructed in 1982, so some of that stuff might be 1980, 1981.
Good.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for this. Well, when I was in District 9, they had an intern doing all that microfilm, saving it on the computer, but
Well, we had a.
yeah, well, that when I first started, we were still using it when I first started.
Yeah.
Are you about to get a twitch?
Yeah, we were using it a lot.
Yeah. But then they had the, yeah.
I'm doing okay, but you're doing all right. Stay up there.
Gonna get rain?
Well, there's a chance later in the evening, I think.
Got mowing to do.
Did it?
Morning.
Well, I knew there was a chance there for about an hour, but I didn't see it do it. They've been in for here a couple months, so
You might have to mow those ditches 3 times a year versus 2.
Exactly. If I can get another guy to do it. That's my problem right now. It's, it'll look good.
Yeah, somehow I missed the SEMPO meeting. I don't know if they sent me the email. Invite, and I just what?
Well, so originally, they had set it for last January meeting. They set it for April 29th.
It's not just anybody.
And so I had in my phone, April 29th, that's the day I was in the meeting that day and I went and put it in my calendar, so I know on my personal phone.
I'm not one to do that.
And Mike was talking about it being on the 22nd. I'm like, I'll put that down for next week. So I finally just called Jerry and said, hey, is the meeting tomorrow? Or is it next Tuesday? He said, this tomorrow. He said, it's always before Thursday. He said, when we set that, the 29th is before Thursday, but
Heavy excavated stuff.
29th is the 29th day of the month, which means there'll be 4 full weeks.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said, yeah, he said that was a mistake, so it could have been something like
That might have
that.
been what it was, because I was like, I kept waiting for it to come out. So I was like, "Oh, it's coming," because they all happen,
Yeah.
within a week or two of each other
Did-
usually.
You got nice
Did
equipment.
Lance on the update, like the comments?
I remember getting emails from him, but I don't know if it was for SEMO or.
Okay,
But yes,
'Cause
usually does.
because I'm not great about that, But if we get them, I'd like to make sure that,
Yeah.
like when I do them, I want to make sure that we send them to you for comment, because you may have something
Yeah.
like,
Task also.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying.
yeah, and because this area heavily subscribes to that, and I want all the projects, I want all the money they'll give us.
Yeah.
I want so many projects in it, they're like, well, we got a little extra money, no, Southeast always, you know, they got so many applications.
Yeah. We have less money this year. And I'm blaming this on Chris. But I sent an email to Jeff City to clarify, but we had a budget last year of like 1.6 million for our app. Well, they sent out an email and said, we had some rollover money to add to your tab. So we added that rollover. The tab and it made it like 5.2 or 5.1 with the rollover. Well, we had a meeting yesterday and he said, well, since you guys spent over your budget last year at, it was 4.6 and you spent 5.2, they took that money away from this year. So I sent an email out because that was my first tab and Chris was like, yeah, we add this to the thing. And the way the email, I went back and down to 2022. Sounds like you're supposed to add that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, I just want to clarify because.
Using some of that new math.
Yeah, but our district, we try not to go over budget because it just takes away from the next year.
Right.
So we've lost out on 700,000 because that's.
And we want to know if that is the way it is.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna greatly impact, I mean, that could be 2 or 3 projects.
Yes, and that's.
Yeah.
That's why I was like.
Yeah,
So-
I agree with you.
So I did, I mean, it might be that, no, it was, we got confused, it was supposed to be, no, your total's already got that rollover in it.
really the only.
But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what he was assuming, I guess, so.
So let me ask, when you sent that back to Jeff City, did you copy all the other LPA?
No.
Because if you copy all the other LPA, then I'd be like, hey.
Yeah. But I,
You know.
we could have just, we
Hey,
could
Ryan.
have just read it wrong or something. Too. But I say,
Yeah.
I blame Chris because he last year. But I hate that it took money away from this year.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna do that again, if that's how it was.
Yeah.
Because some districts, they overrun every year. I don't know, and they let them do, they just take it away from the next year.
I mean, at some point, don't you have to pay fiber?
Yeah, it's gonna run out.
Hey, this year, you guys get 0.
Yeah. I kind of like to be steady, we have about the same amount every year,
Yeah.
you know, so that everybody's got used to it.
Well, I don't remember, did I ask you? Maybe I didn't. I asked somebody, I was like, I wonder if it's gonna be, you know, some years they do it like every year. And sometimes they do it every other year, and whenever they do it every other year, then you get double the amount.
Yeah.
But I know we did a call in November a year before, and I think November last year, I think.
Well, last year's attachment was around March. Because it was like when I first started, I don't know if it was already open
Okay.
or it was just opened right after. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
I may just
and
be
there
mixed
is a
up on that.
600, this time there's a 600,000.
Yeah, 11, that clock's wrong.
All right, we'll go ahead and start the meeting.
Bed money, so that's. a
Call the
big
meeting
job.
to order. This is the May 7th, 2025 SEMPO Technical Planning Committee meeting. We'll begin with introductions, start on the left and go around.
Janice Collier with ALG.
Drew Christian with CNO RPC. Rodney Mullinger, City of Jackson.
Alex McAvoy, SEMPO staff.
Brian Schrumpel, City of Cape Coral.
Jay Knudsen representing Cape Girardeau County.
Mark Phillips, Cape Special Road District.
Denise Smith, Cape Girardeau County Fire Authority.
Joe Killian, MoDOT.
Melissa Rose, MoDOT.
On 9, we have Corbin Carlton and Mike Alvin of CPD.
Hello.
All right, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Rodney.
Second?
Second. Go ahead.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Agenda is adopted. Approval minutes, do I have a motion?
So moved. Go.
Second?
Second. Rodney.
All right.
Aye.
approved. No communications. Are there any public comments regarding items not on the agenda? One. We want to finish business. We have several items today. We're going to begin with the 2024-2027 Transportation Improvement Plan program. Is it program amendment number 7?
Yes. So the handout was provided by email because it's 63 pages by roughly 40 different projects. A number of the projects have areas listed in their locations, so there are improvements such as drainage upgrades, scoping, surveying, concrete street repairs. But if you want specific projects with beginning and a defined terminus, you can scan through those 60 pages quickly and just look to see which ones have a map included with them. It's a good way to approach it. That's what I did. So we have projects like widening of Route K, resurfacing of 25 to 6177, intersection turn lanes, upgrade signal at Fountain Drive, and the US 61 flyover bridge at exit 93. That was the complete bridge rehabilitation. Or no, that was the deck repairs. Just as examples. Drew, do you have anything else to add on all the work you were doing yesterday?
It's almost all MoDOT. There are 5 CTA projects in there. But everything else is MoDOT. The stip that they've got coming up.
Any questions on amendment number 7?
Alex, I did have a comment on that. I didn't go through and checked everything thoroughly, but looking through the ones that did have maps on them, I noticed that the one for Donna Drive, which is MoDOT project SE0071, I believe, also shows a location for either the Emerson Bridge or SE0304 that shows something over by the Emerson Bridge or Sprigg Street right there. And we do have an ADA job there.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was inadvertently included or
Is that the
some.
one with the map with just the 2 dots? Dot at that intersection and then.
Yeah, and there's a dot back where Donna Drive is.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to call attention to that. I looked at the 9P3308, which is the Emerson Bridge project that is, I think, starting underway now, and Corbin may have an update on that. I wondered if it might have been that, but I didn't see that project listed. I did a search in the PDF file, didn't see that project listed, so I don't know that that was that project. Maybe it was one of the ADA, like I said, projects there at 74 and 177, but just thought I'd point that out.
We did have that work at Minnesota on 74 recently.
We can look at that, Joe.
Otherwise, it's good to see the maps on there. That's really nice.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions on TIP amendment number 7?
Alex, I struggling to find this one in the inbox. Is this where the Parkway project would be?
It'll be on, that will be on our agenda. That'll be the unfunded.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, we need a motion.
Yep.
Motion to release for public comment, recommend conditional approval to the board. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. So we have the Metropolitan Transportation Plan update. We have a presentation.
All right, we have 2 handouts with this. We have the progress report. And then we also have an Excel sheet printed on 8.5 and 11, in very small font, which we'll talk about later. That's our stakeholders. But we do have our consultant here as a guest, going to provide us a presentation on an update where they're at. And Mike, I think I did it where you can share your screen, but let me know if you have difficulties.
Okay. All right, can you see a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Alex. So yeah, today I just have a little bit of a brief presentation on our findings from the existing conditions. Quick question, are you looking at presentation mode or can you see a full screen of my presentation?
We're in presentation mode.
Okay, let me see if I can switch those. You know what, we're just gonna,
Maybe under display setting. That'll work too.
What's up?
yeah, I'll just do it this way. I don't wanna
It's that.
take up any more time trying to figure out how to switch this around. But yeah, so just want to give you a brief update on our findings from going through the exercise of the existing conditions section. Instead, I've only got a few slides for you today. The section itself is 60 pages of thrilling reading. We are currently finishing up. It's about 90% of the way there. But we'll have a draft for you guys here pretty soon. But just want to get a few interesting findings in front of you today. So kind of where these are coming from. There's two different sections within existing conditions that I'm going to go through today. Demographic and economic outlooks, and then also how we get around sections. So we'll look at different population trends, economic factors, and transportation usage as it's changed since the last plan was updated. So starting off here, and hopefully, can you guys, I'll make this a little bit bigger. How well can you see the numbers on the screen?
Not very well.
Very well. Okay, I apologize.
The left of the Zoom is full screen if you want to go full screen. It looks like a little projector screen on the bottom right there.
Yeah, that's what's I'm trying to figure out how to here. Maybe if I
think it's under display settings on the top ribbon.
okay.
We got a close up of you now.
That. How about now? Is it showing there?
Got it.
All right. There we go. Okay, so first here, so this shows the population change in the urbanized area, the Cape Girardeau urbanized area over the past 10 years. And so what we used is data from the Census's American Community Survey that allowed us to it's uniform across all different types of geographies that we're using within this section. So that is what we went with in determining or in for these population estimates. So what we can see for the urbanized area, which includes the city of Cape, Jackson, and the city of East Cape, is that we had a 4.1% increase over the past 10 years from 2013 to 2023. I will say just real quick, we're using 2023 data because that's the most recent that's available. But as you can see, it's fluctuated a little bit. We're currently at 56,340 people in the urbanized area. It was trending upward from 2013 to 2016. We saw some dips the next few years, kind of even out a little bit, and now it's shooting back up. So we're seeing some population growth in the urbanized area. So this next slide shows the individual communities within the urbanized area and the population of those. So starting in the top left, Cape Girardeau City saw a 4.6% increase over the past 10 years. A pretty stable upward trend until about 2020. The community survey shows there was a dip in population going into 2021, but that growth is continuing to go upward again, but hasn't quite reached the peak that it was at 2020, according to this information. So 40,100 is where the population was estimated to be at, and in 2020, 2023, it's at 40,047. We'll go down to Jackson here. So in Jackson, 2013, population of one person shy of 14,000. saw an 11% increase over the past 10 years, now sitting at about 15,532. Getting into East Cape Girardeau, a pretty steep decline there in the past 10 years. It was estimated to have 630 people in 2013, down to about 292 in 2023. And then for the county as a whole, population of about 76,000 in 2013, an increase of 7.7% over the past 10 years, looking at about 82,180 people in 2023. Turning now into to employment and findings. So this chart on the left shows commuting patterns. So what this shows, start with the circle in the middle of the people who work in Cape Girardeau, in the urbanized area of Cape Girardeau. So again, that's Cape, Jackson, and East Cape. 12,616 people also live here. So that's what that's showing. Of the people who live in the urbanized area, 11,375 are estimated to be leaving the area for jobs elsewhere. However, 19,700 are estimated to be coming into the urbanized area for work. So it's pretty even throughout. There is a little bit more people coming into the region for work than leaving, which is, it kind of goes to show that this, obviously the Cape urbanized area is more of a job center than other areas around Southeast Missouri. And so kind of turning to this chart on the right here, it shows a variety of different industry sectors where people would work. And so what we can see here, kind of looking at the top industry sectors for where people are employed, the largest is healthcare and social assistance. That's a little under a quarter of the jobs or of employment in the region. Next, you have retail trade, so your retail, obviously, about 16%. And following that, accommodation, which is your hotels and stuff like that, and food services, which is about just under 12%. And then following that is educational services, which with about 10%. And then if you look at the earnings by jobs in 2022, here again, 2022 is the most recent year of which this data is available. About 38.4, it's pretty evenly split between or among whether people make less than $1,250 per month, $1,251 to $3,333 per month, kind of your middle incomes there, or more than $3,333 per month, which is kind of your higher income. So it's pretty evenly split. There's more of the higher income earners than there are lower income, of 38% compared to 24%. And then in your middle income, there's about 37% are in your middle income there. So now, just kind of a variety of different data points I'd like to draw to your attention here. We're looking at, educational attainment here in the top left. So what we can see is that the percent of people who live in the urbanized area with a bachelor's degree or higher has been increasing in the past 10 years. So it was at just under 29% in 2013. It's at 35.7% today. And this is for a population of 25 years and older. And then looking at those on the other end of the spectrum who have less than a ninth grade education, that has declined in the past 10 years. So it went from 5% in 2013 to 2.1% in 2023. So good trending here with educational attainment. I'll turn it over to poverty status. So there's been the amount of people who are at, I'm sorry. Okay. The amount of people who are below poverty status has declined after going up a little bit through the middle part of the past 10 years. So in 2013, we were at 9,500 people, which is about 18.8%. It had increased by 2018 to about 20.8% of the population, and that's back down again in 2023 to 17.3%, or just under 9,100 people. However, we look at poverty for those who are 65 and older, we see that that's actually increased. So in 2013, there was about 680, or about 10%. That has increased to 1,100 people, or about 12% of the population. Turning now to this chart in the bottom left, this shows access to vehicles for those who live in the urbanized area. So this is for workers who are 16 years and older and live in the household. What this shows is that there has been not too much of a change in the number of vehicles available. So it's been pretty stable across the board. So I won't really go into the data into too much detail there. Looking then at median household income by age, there's been a hefty increase in median household income in the past 10 years, went from 43,000 to 47,000 between 2013 and 2018, but then jumped to 61 in 2023. There has been an increase in all households over the past 10 years, a little bit of a dip for those who were under 25 in 2018. Otherwise, it's been pretty much an increase across the board. So turning now into commuting trends, this on the chart on the top left looks at means of commuting to work. So the first thing I want to draw to your attention is that the percentage of people who are working from home, this bottom line here has, as you might expect, jumped significantly in the past 10 years. In 2013, there was only just under 2%, or about 487 people who are working from home. 2023, that's jumped to 8.1% of people. About 2,200 people are working from home now in the urbanized area. So that kind of explains the trends that we see above. So, starting with car, truck, people who took a car, truck, or van to work alone, that has seen a decrease, a slight decrease over the past 10 years. So as people have carpooled, public transportation went up a little bit, has come back down just a little bit. People who have walked has decreased a fair amount, especially between 2018 and 2023. The people who are estimated to bicycle has gone down quite a bit, 128 in 2023, down to only 28, or 0.1% in 2023. So we'd like to really explore why that has happened. And then kind of this other category, taxi cab, motorcycle, etc., that's been pretty stable. Actually went up a little bit. Well, went up from 2018. And then turning to travel time to work. So despite the fact that more people are working at home than they used to, travel time from work to work has increased slightly over the past 10 years. It was exactly the same from 2013 to 2018, about 16.5 minutes. But from 2018 to 2023, that has increased from 16.5 to about 17.2 minutes. And then kind of looking at the rest of the data here, fewer people have less than a 10-minute commute to work. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's slightly more who have more than a 60-minute commute to work. So for those whose commute is more than 60 minutes, that has increased from 3.8% of commuters to, it was down a little bit in 2018, but it's back up to 3.9% in 2023. And so now we get into projected population growth. And so how we determined this, we looked at the past 20 years of population change and averaged that to an annual rate and used that to predict what the population would be going forward in each of these communities that make up the urbanized area. So turning it to Cape Girardeau City at the top here, projected to grow at a rate of 0.57% per year, which is pretty gradual. In 2020, a population of 39,540 would increase to about 46,891 by 2050. City of Jackson, a little bit of a higher increase in population, 1.3% annualized growth. So that would put it at about 22,808 by 2050. East Cape Girardeau, predicting that it will continue to have decline by 2050, decreasing from about 289 to about 165 by 2050. Cape Girardeau County, annual rate of change of about 0.87%, so increasing from 81,710 to 105,959. And for the urbanized area, same rate of change as the county, about 0.87%. So an increase from 55,546 in 2020 to about 72,000 today. This looks at the amount of jobs in the region, and so these charts will probably need a little bit of explaining here. So we use the same method for determining how many jobs will be in each of the different government entities over the next 30 years, 2020 to 2050. And that kind of explains why you'll see a dip in some of the job counts in a few communities and then a rise out to 2050. So here again, we looked at the past 20 years of job growth. And so with the city of Cape Girardeau, that got us an annual average annual growth rate of 0.01%. So while it had a decrease in jobs from 2012 to 2020 here, we're predicting a growth rate going forward. So that's why you see an uptick in jobs out to about 27,711, which is slightly less than what it was said to have in 2012. City of Jackson, kind of the same thing, predicting a rate of change of about annual rate of change of about 0.33%. So from 2020, it's about 6,014 jobs up to 6,300 jobs. And now East Cape Girardeau. Our model here, if we were to use that all the way out to 2050, would show that there would be 0 jobs by 2050. We had 30 in 2020 that would be predicted to be about 1 down to about 2050 where we'd hit 0. But we don't actually think that there would only be that there would be 0 jobs in East Cape Girardeau by 2050. And there's a theory called asymptotic decay that suggests that employment could stabilize rather than continue on such a downward trend and keep about 1 to 3 jobs in 2050. So kind of ignoring this 0 here, focusing on, oh, shoot, my apologies. What this theorem says, we should actually expect about 1 to 3 jobs by 2050. And then Cape Girardeau County, consistent increase up to about 43,217 jobs, an annual increase of about 0.49%. And then for the metropolitan area as a whole, about 0.28% growth in jobs annually, from about 42,000 today to 44,000 by 2050. So sorry, that was a lot of data to throw at you. Any questions that you have, I can certainly answer. We just want to give you an idea of both where we're seeing trends headed and the method for predicting some of these trends. And then this data will be used to start thinking about recommendations and how to think about transportation in the region going forward.
Oh, that's good data. Thank you.
So you send that out.
I can give everyone a copy of that.
That'd be great.
Yep.
I'll send you, Alex, an updated version of that PowerPoint. I've made a few tweaks before our presentation today.
Okay. Any questions for our consultant? Okay. Go to our stakeholder list. It's 8.5 by 11, very small font, fill table. Okay, so you can see our categories here: aviation, bike ped, economic tourism, emergency management, freight, neighborhood groups, transit, accessibility, and kind of the catch-all general stakeholders. Some comments have been made that we should add a few more freight contacts, those being Capital Sands, Boozy, and the Delta companies. Does anyone have contacts for anybody in those companies that might help us?
Delta, Lucy.
Again, capital sales.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind just shooting those to me when you get a chance, I'll add them to our group that we plan to send out invitations to participate in our stakeholder interviews. We're coordinating with CBB right now to begin to schedule those, but we want to make sure we had all of the appropriate contacts and everybody was good with our list of contacts. So,
You'll have to send out an introductory letter. You'll send something out explaining what that's all about.
Are you gonna reach out to us?
yes, for each stakeholder. Yeah, CBB is going to prepare a brief introduction, informational message for me, and then I'll use my email to specifically contact them. If I don't get a response, if I have a number, I'll give a call to see if they will.
Perhaps we could be CC on that,
Yes,
and then I'll help carry it.
thank you. That would be helpful.
They're outside the actual UPO area.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a contact with P&G. They're going to be good. Chad, you can do that.
Chad, you have contacts with Lucy and Delta?
Boozy, yes, Delta, not as much.
I know
I
an
can give,
employee, and he can get me the info that wrote it.
since they went out of. Got long, it's been harder.
I'll look.
I guess it's still. I can't remember the name. Yeah, he's located in Georgia now, but I think he still manages.
Zach.
Zach, I think it's still Zach. We can get it.
Anything else on the stakeholders? Okay, well, thank you, Mike. For the presentation. You're welcome to stay with us if you'd like, but we know it's getting closer to lunch hour.
Thank you all. I unfortunately have another meeting to jump to, but I appreciate your time. Thank you.
See ya.
Okay, that brings us to the Wood Island Fund details.
All right, MoDOT again is asking for our unfunded needs list. So let's start with road and bridge. It's the 8.5 by 14 printout with the staple in it. As a reminder, this is the list that we had prepared last year. So as a reminder of the tier projects, in tier 1, we have US 61 and Shawnee Boulevard intersection improvements. Also in tier 1, we have Missouri 25 safety improvements. That's the roadway widening. In tier 2, we have the exit 93 interchange. That one was the complete reconfiguration. They had found a rehabilitation was going to extend the life of it. until we could figure out funding for the complete reconfiguration. Also in tier 2, we added last year the Plainfield Bridge replacement. That had been on our unfunded needs list, but we added it as a higher priority in the tier 2. And then in tier 3, we have the I-55 additional lane. The overall project is envisioned to be from exit 93 to 105. But given the price tag and the funding threshold scenario, we broke it into different phases. And for phase 1, we have proposed from exit 93 to exit 96. Those are the ones that are currently tiered and ranked within the financial constraints of their additional funding scenarios. So again, all hypothetical. This practice is not to say that just because it's on a tier, it's getting funded. This is a scenario in which MoDOT comes into additional funds they had not anticipated. That way they have a list of projects ready to go that have been vetted by local communities and MPO. So
We're missing a step. Skip it 99 to 102.
right now, we just have tier 1 phase.
Yeah, you got 3 phases here, but you've got a gap that
Like
93 to 96.
I just put a 99 and 105.
Yeah, so last one.
Notes I had for this road and bridge is, and Shad will speak to this, but Team Already is proposing adding Ozark Parkway project. That would be an envisioned new road from Cape Girardeau County to Carter County around the Van Buren area. What specifically is being proposed is funding for a planning environmental linkage study, estimated to be about a $5 million investment. 2 quick other ones. Rodney, I wanted to check with you on removing I-55 lighting improvements from I-55 to K-Land, or not I-55 lighting, the Kings Highway, East Jackson Boulevard.
Yeah, you can.
Because you have that caution.
Yeah, we have caution.
It'll be clear this year.
And then this one, last year we had added a small amount, 150,000 for a study to enhance north-south mobility along Highway 74/Shawnee Parkway. We have a lot of activity and development occurring in that area, and that's been a need in the community for enhanced north-south mobility. Shed, did you have anything additional with the Ozark Parkway in your efforts?
Yeah, happy to just kind of talk briefly about it. So this is historically the I-66 corridor that's been talked about many years. And we're trying to rescope it, rename it, get something that's a little bit more attainable for us and focus on the Missouri part where we have some level of influence with legislative dollars coming down in Missouri. And so SEMO Ready is focusing on that aspect. We're working with Procter & Gamble to understand the transportation needs for that. They have indicated that their transportation costs are one of the barriers for expansion. We think they are eligible and potentially on target for a $1 billion plus expansion here in the Cape Girardeau area. We're trying to knock out as many barriers as possible. And this is something that has always been considered a priority for them. And when they did their, I don't, Jay, when was that, like 97, when they built their second plant, there was talk about this interstate happening. So we're just trying to figure out a new way to approach it that's a little bit different. Having similar conversations in Illinois about a Shawnee Parkway, and been working with some of their legislative folks and their regional planning commission, an organization that's similar to mine called SI Now. So moving in that direction. Don't know the actual cost of the study. This was recommended by MoDOT as a first step to do a PEL study. The full environmental study was 8 to 12 million, and so we thought that was too high. Maybe we bring it down. This gives us a little bit more flexibility to go out and explore what the route should look like. Is it feasible? Where are we going to run into issues? That's what we're really looking to do. And I'll give you better writing on this. I didn't know you were just going to copy my email.
You feel free to wordsmith it, but I'll copy and paste the fresher version.
it's a big deal, and it's nice that it's kind of getting a fresh look. And, as somebody told me a long time ago, sometimes progress happens when there's a few funerals. And, the Illinois part was always a barrier with the environmental piece. My goodness, what a kick in the arm it could be from that shot in the arm. And so, looks like you got a really nice fresh approach to. That's critical for P&G. It could lead to them leaving if they don't get some.
That's right. It's their highest cost transportation in the country, I think, in that kind of thing.
So Mike, can you give us a recap on the different tiered funding scenarios and the threshold that you're looking to hold us to for each tier?
Yeah, so we get tier 1 statewide, 500 million. Our district gets around 8.8% of all this funding. So that comes to, I'll just ballpark numbers here, 44 million. And you kind of the way it splits out, the way the plan partners kind of agreed to kind of divvy this out the same way we get it. The MPO gets 4.7 million for tier 1. Now last year's list totaled up to 8.4 million for tier 1, so we were over. We were over in a lot of categories last year. We're probably kind of pushing it, so we need to be mindful of that. On tier 2, that is 2 billion statewide, and tier 3 is also 2 billion. We get around 176 million. And the MPO gets 18.64. We'll say 19 million each. 19 million tier 2, 19 million tier 3. And then, yeah, we did kind of work the MPO a little bit differently for multimodal. There's a little more uniqueness to it than some of the other more rural RPCs. You got more of a direct line there, and that is 9.32 million.
For the MPO?
For the MPO, yeah. So now here's the deal. In tier 2, last year we spent 40.3 million. So that's way over the 19 million. And in tier 3, we're at 35.1 million. And multimodal was 11 million. So we were just a hair over on multimodal. SEMO RPC does kind of help share, and even Boot Hill just a little bit. They did kind of help share in some of that overages. The 6 lane and the 55 there is a beneficial project, for more than just the MPO. So that was a good chunk of that. But of course, there are several other ones. The Route 25 job for shouldering had huge right-of-way costs, huge. And I believe that job itself came in around 40 million. That's a tough one. It's only a little bit over 4 miles long. You don't want to really break it up into pieces. So we tried to stick it in there as best we can. So yeah, what we have in there, tier 1 was the intersection at Shawnee and the Bloomfield overpass. Tier 2 is the Route 25 shoulders from 61 to K. And then tier 3 was add lanes from exit 93 to 96. And then capital improvements there at the flyover is also on tier 3. And then there are several of the multimodal ones. So we're it's always a hurry, and it's kind of the position we find ourselves in yearly with this, but that's just kind of the way it works out. So we don't actually have tasks overlapping, but we start working on this after the STIP goes out, and the draft STIP should be going out here soon. The commission met today. So yeah, we'd like to have all of our estimates updated. We like to have the projects identified and our estimates updated by the end of next week. and then back out to you guys for review for a little while, and then allow a little time for any tweaks or changes, and then we have to get into our database, I think by the end of the month or, well, I doing our database, June 6th.
Looking at the current road and bridge, so just focusing on road and bridge projects and the way they're tiered, are there any proposals for any changes?
We had a recent inspection on the Field Bridge. Probably it's really, really bad, it's getting worse. So we push all that up to a higher tier.
Do you know if they've done?
So we did have our bridge crew go out and look at the bridge over the last 3 weeks, and we're going to do some work on that. It is not going to be a replacement. It's going to be some work at the ends and a resurfacing. That's a high level of what he said, basically. But we do need to go out and do a little bit of work to it. And he is currently scheduling that. So I don't know exactly when that's going to take place. But some of those repairs I anticipate will happen this year. And then they're also talking about whether we're going to do what type of resurfacing we'll do. Obviously, there's a concern with being over I-55 and having traffic up underneath of that. So we want to be careful and mindful of the traffic. So I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but we have had just Ryan had brought that to our attention I don't know, a month ago. And so we have had him go out and look at that. And we can, when we find out a little bit more, maybe we can kind of pass that along to kind of give you a general idea. You can pass it along back to Trevor. But something has been happening. We are looking at it, and we do anticipate doing a little bit of work.
Any other comments? Shad, were you trying to get the Ozark Parkway within a tier group?
I'm new here still a little bit, so I don't understand exactly how it all works, but it is certainly a major economic development priority for us. So whatever that means to you guys, I would love to see it move forward.
The way MoDOT communicates their tier structures, it's not black and white. One is better than 3. They try to encourage us to select tier 1 projects that would be ready to go and be able to be accomplished within a 5 to 10 year window. Tier 2 is more of a 10-year readiness and completion window, and tier 3 normally a little bit further out.
As a study, it could be done.
It lends itself to be more of a tier 1 because there's not much preparation work other than getting it sold.
I would be glad to push that direction, but open to the.
So, yeah, let's look at the tier 1 then. Still got the intersection, improvements at 61 in Shawnee, and then the other one is for Route 25 from 3472 to Route K. So do we still feel that that is one of the highest priorities?
Hey, Ryan, let me just, right in the middle of that, let me just say that we had direction from our district leadership this year to go ahead and add the tier 1 projects as they were in the August list of last year to scoping. So the intersection improvements at Shawnee Boulevard will be in the draft STIP that you'll be able to see later today in scoping. But to clarify, that is not a financial commitment to build the project, but it is a financial commitment to begin to look at it, to investigate what type of improvements might be needed, what is feasible. So that, I would leave that in tier one for sure, because it is not a commitment to build it, but I did want to just make sure that later today, as you go out and review the draft STIP during this public comment period, which we'll talk about a little bit, that project will be out there. You'll be able to see that it is going to get some dollars for looking at, but not construction dollars.
Right,
And the
it's the same for the Bloomfield Road overpass, because that was on tier one also. So
Right.
we'll have that in scoping, but yeah, no construction dollars committed.
Does it then make sense to have, whether it's my project or not, something else in tier one in case those start to get?
That's what I was thinking, Chad. Maybe we add that in and it may go over the limit, but that would help send a message that we're prioritizing the project. Study part. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, and as we further understand, to go to tier two or tier three, they need to start out at tier one.
not necessarily, as Alex mentioned, kind of the construct for this is that the tier one projects are projects that we could begin to move on quicker. Whereas say the exit or the I-55 corridor, the 6-lane corridor, is something that's going to need its own environmental. It's going to take a fair amount of time just to get the EIS and begin to work on that project. So it's more of a financial or dollars and readiness aspect. So it's not just one or the other. It's kind of both.
Makes sense. So all the more reason I think this Ozark project would be a perfect poster child for a tier one, especially with the multi-state collaborative needs and everything else. So yeah, I agree. I would support Chad and or the group, including that.
For the cost, 25, something that should be in tier one, or should that be tier two?
So last year we had 25 on tier two. That was where it was on last year's list in August of last year when we published the official list. So I see, we got on this other sheet that we're showing it on tier one, and nothing necessarily wrong with that. But as Mike said earlier, we're looking at $4.7 million for the MPO as far as prioritizing some of their stuff. If SEMO wants to maybe kind of coordinate with that as part of the westward corridor study, that's between SEMO and SEMPO, but just keep in mind that we have been over, and we do have to answer some questions, and sometimes they get to be tough questions about, hey, we're a lot of 4.7 million. So I'm not against the study. We just need to be cognizant of the amounts that we're kind of given to look at.
Do we need to maybe break that into phases to get the cost down?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe it's full.
How much do we have for tier one?
4.7.
$12 in there now.
Yeah, and if construction dollars ever did present themselves, I mean, ideally we do come to tier one, but we recognize kind of the financial constraint of the list too. And if there was dollars like into the amount that you could pull off on these larger projects that didn't fit on a tier one, we would reconvene with our partners to, do we want to get one of those bigger ones or several of the smaller ones? I mean, central office is usually pretty flexible and understanding with that, and I would expect that flexibility again. So, ideally, you're just getting it on the list, and some of these they need to be ready to go, like a 6-lane and 55. That one's not. There's a lot of work to get done before we could commit that into the construction part of the step. But some of the other ones may be more feasible to do that.
The other thing, Shed, you already have or will probably have access to other sources of revenue or grant funding outside of this universe, right?
I will pursue a variety of other.
So that to me would even be a better reason to be able to give this some emphasis and importance because of the multi-funding approach.
I agree. If it doesn't harm us to be in tier one, I think it's worth having it there because it's the right signal I need for some other areas, whether it's a line item in the legislature or a grant funding or whatever. But we will pursue it, right?
The other thing is it needs some formalized recognition.
Yep.
Versus all of this kind of quasi-independent groups that are meeting on it. It needs to be on the radar screen of the very people that we will have to make that become reality. Agreed.
Just a little bit hard to hear. Which one are we talking about trying to get on tier one?
Ozark Parkway, study,
The Ozark Parkway study?
yes.
Must be, let me go open up your attachments.
Mike, that's the east-west corridor on the old proposed I-66 corridor. This would be the Missouri part of it from Cape over westward through Marble Hill area towards Carter County to meet back up with 60.
And the funds would be for a planning and environmental linkage study.
Is that in the 2025 road bridge PDF somewhere?
That's in the,
Oh, yeah, it's on the top of page 2, I think.
Yes.
it's the first one listed under the tier 3. So it's the first one not tiered.
Yeah.
So the price tag on the Ozark Parkway study is $5 million. And then Shawnee Boulevard, that intersection, 1.9 million. So we're close to 7 million between those two. And then we've got 10 million for 25. I'd go down some due to scoping, right? Slight increase.
Shawnee, we have it here at 2.8 on this updated list from last year's unfunded needs list.
What's that?
On last year's cost estimate for the Shawnee one, it's 2.8 million.
So
The Ozark Parkway study, my understanding is that a PEL can scale to whatever funding you have. 5 million was put in as a placeholder, it doesn't have to be 5 million. Corbin and I met with some team members and just kind of talked through this. So it's not necessarily 5 solid, and if it makes a difference, put it at 3. I don't think it matters. I just wanted on a priority list somewhere.
Is the 10 million for 25, is that having gone from 10 to 6-foot shoulders, or is that still the 10-foot shoulder?
25, these are older dollars on here, I believe. 25 is now at $40.3 million. And a lot of that is right away. And it is for 6-foot shoulders.
we're up to 40 million for 25 now.
Yeah.
That's the point, even at tier 1. That's definitely out of the. I mean, we'd rather have updated numbers on these, but certainly that one I think takes it out of tier 1. I think we go with Shawnee intersection and the Osage Parkway.
Yeah, because tier 1, that's most of the money that the whole district gets.
Price tag on the Ozark Parkway that we can adjust that.
Yeah.
If we need to.
Agreed.
That's my suggestion.
Brandon, given that, did you say 25 was in scoping?
No.
Or is that just Shawnee?
Shawnee
Okay.
and Bloomfield Overpass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, I agree. I think our tier 1 needs to be Shawnee, and those are ways with the asterisk, and then bump down 25 from tier 1 to tier 2. I would agree with that.
comments?
No, just, I think the history and discussion's wonderful. You know, I'm kind of curious how the 25 was born. Was that something brought to the group with such magnitude 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
It had been on our list. I think it is fairly new to the tiers. But it had been a project for a little while.
Okay, do you need a motion, Alex?
Yeah, I entertain one.
All right, so do I have a motion? I'll make a motion.
I'll make that motion, Rodney.
I'll second it, Chad.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, now let's move to multimodal.
Hey, so I think I got tier 1 as Shawnee and Parkway. What are we doing on tier 2 and 3? Are they staying the same?
Yes, well, they're moving 25 down to tier 2.
Yeah, the only change was adding Ozark Parkway to tier 1 and moving 25 down to tier 2.
Okay, what about the Bloomfield Road overpass? Because that's in tier 1 also.
We're showing it in tier 2.
Yeah, that's tier 2.
Do you need it in tier?
That might be a later one. I'm not sure. But the current one, it's in tier 1. And it's at 5.6 million.
Is that for the complete replacement of?
Correct.
Okay.
Seems you're the only one looking at the sheet with the active information.
This is what we had submitted, and then it goes through several iterations on ODOT's side. So I think his numbers are a good bit updated from what we were looking at.
So we're definitely clear in tier 1. We need to make adjustments to tier 2. Do that.
If you have access to your email, Alex, I sent it April 14th. You'll be able to see an Excel version of the updated list. Or I can send you a screenshot or something now.
Yeah. Well, I think you're just saying we probably have too much in tier 2. Or
There's definitely too much in a lot of the tiers, but that's going to be tough to get all 3 of those in tier 1.
Maybe we move reconstruction exit 93 to tier 3 then, because that's a long-term big thing. And right now they're doing just the rehab, right?
Yeah.
That's going to buy us some time on that. And then we have money left over, maybe we bump up one of the other ones. Or we can just say, if we go over on tier 1 because of the Ozark Parkway study, then we would like to use some of that money from tier 2 toward that. It turns out to be more than 3 million or what have you. What are your guys' thoughts?
Saying we gotta move between Shawnee and Bloomfield for tier 1, and then I guess that's another question, all right?
Yeah, I think the redesign of the interchange is going to be, that's not a quick turnaround. I can see that going through.
I think it's easy for some of us to pontificate when we don't necessarily know the reality of it. Ryan, I think if, as a person that is gonna actually be facilitating and executing, at least from the city Cape standpoint, I'll follow your lead on that.
Do we have to make a decision today? This is a recommendation for,
Yeah,
do we have to make that recommendation today, this month?
I think
We do need it this month.
Mike said June 6th, they had to have
Oh.
everything.
Yeah, well, no, June 6th is the day, that's our drop dead date to actually have everything entered in. We need
Yeah,
to,
we need to have
we-
everything, time to estimate it, update estimates, and kind of get the whole list kind of fit together district wide. 25 counties and then, back out to you guys for review and then allow a little more time, for any tweaks after that and data entry.
What's our amount for tier 2?
19.
I think for tier two.
We don't have a cost for the Bloomfield Bridge because we do the.
I think he said 5.6.
Bloomfield is 5.6.
Well, it sounds like we're kind of in agreement that the exit 93 project, the actual reconstruction, should move from tier 2 to tier 3.
Yes.
Yes. That means then we probably have some.
It's in tier 3 now.
Okay. Mike, do you have that list? Can you screen share so we can look? We're dealing with outdated information. It's really hard to.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. How do I screen share in Zoom?
Let me make sure you can share. Chat.
So the,
Yeah, you should be able to share.
the previous list was Shawnee Boulevard and Bloomfield Bridge in tier 1. Tier 2 was 25. And tier 3 was I-55 lanes and the 93 boat paths. Those two.
Seeing that?
Yeah, make that a little bit bigger, Mike.
Okay, so these top few are the road and bridge one. Everything else is multimodal. And these are last year's estimates, so I would expect, to add a few percent on some of these for inflation.
For what it's worth, the exit 93 project, we've currently got a project in the STIP for rehabilitation, so that's not the complete redesign and redo everything. But there is some work in there right now to kind of do some work to kick the can down the road, if you will.
This is showing it as in tier 3 now, right?
Yes. And that was at 22 million there.
And I think the same logic would apply to Bloomfield. I don't know for sure where that is, but you're gonna do some work to it.
Yes.
And so, I would think there'd be some. But that where it needs to be.
So Mike, I think for tier 1, we're gonna keep the Shawnee intersection. That's, we say 2.7, 2.8 billion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're gonna add in tier 1, the Ozark Parkway, and
Gotcha.
put 3 million for that shed for now.
Grant 3 million for Ozark Parkway.
Yes. We're close to 6, but I mean, it's not outrageously above.
But he has the bridge in Bloomfield.
Yeah, then Bloomfield, we need to drop either the tier 2 or 3. Right? So Bloomfield and 25, I guess would be maybe in tier 2. Does that work?
Hmm.
25 is still tier 2s anyway. I mean, it either eats it all up or put something in there with next to it.
I would float the idea that 25 at that price tag, would be maybe it stays on the list, but it is not in a tier just because of the price tag is just. Yeah.
Like Jay, I'm trying to, where it came from.
I think part of that, I think part of that was when we did the work at Center Junction, and we ended up having a lot more traffic on Route K and 25 during that period, people going back and forth between Jackson and Cape. And we added in some ramps, or, we did some ramp work at exit 96. We had the signals at 25 and K prior to the roundabout. So I definitely think some of that came about as part of that increased traffic volume there that was bringing attention to the area.
That all makes sense to me. I'm just trying to be a little respectful of who the stakeholders were that brought it forward, and that it's real easy for us, as I look at that cost, I'm not even sure it's on the list. But, I'm not sure that I have the authority to do that, but maybe what, that was Rodney or Drew, whoever was making that recommendation, is maybe it stays on a list, but that cost kind of blows your tier system out. I agree with that completely. I think to keep it on the list, but move it out of the tier system. If there's somebody that really wants it and is really influential and powerful, we'll probably find out. I've usually found out that's the case.
Okay, so Shawnee and Ozark, tier 1, Bloomfield, tier 2, 55, those 3 phases, tier 3, and then 25 moving out of the tier. Is that what you have? Is that good?
Good.
All right. Amend that motion.
I think what I might do, if you guys are all right, if we're taking out 25, what did you say for tier 2? Bloomfield?
Just Bloomfield.
What if I move this up? So then you got about 18 million in tier 2, which is around your target, and then this one in tier 3.
When you say this one and this one.
It's hard to see with the cup shading what project you're talking about.
So tier 2 would be Bloomfield and 6-lane 55.
But all that tier 2.
Which phase, Mike? Because you certainly can't get it all.
This phase, the one from exit 96 to 93.
Okay, phase 1.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, yes. And then the rest is in, the other 2 phases are in tier 3.
Let me just say too, Ryan, you guys were talking about your phases on I-55, and Mike had mentioned that there was some assistance, say from Boot Hill, to kind of help cover some of that. If you want to continue that, I would suggest extending your language anyway to show down to exit 89 to where it's actually in Boot Hill RPC's area, because right now, if you start at exit 93, Boot Hill has every right to say, you're not even doing anything for us, because it's not even in our area. It's all within Cape County. And so if you go down at least to exit 89, or exit 91 anyway, right at the border, then Boot Hill could potentially see some kind of, improvement from it. I would at least consider that as you guys look to rewrite that.
That'd be feasible.
That would what?
That's phase 4. That's the
It
carrot.
makes sense, so it's thinking along.
If we can do that and fit that in phase 2 for tier 2. Tier 2.
Well, it might just be an
phase 1, so
yep.
from exit 89 to 96.
Yeah, and it might just be an additional phase that you say, hey, maybe that's gonna be phase 4, whatever. I'm not saying exactly how it should be done, but just bringing that thought that the other when we have to meet, send that back out to the other planning partners, they're going to have an interest in that.
Does it make sense to make that a phase 4 as far as the priorities here in the phases? Is that a lower priority than 99 to 105? phase 3. And I think we all, between 93 and 99 is a very, very heavily trafficked area.
Yes.
So I think those clearly are the top 2 phases. But then
Yeah.
89 to 93 and from 99 to 105, is 99 to 105 still a higher priority? Center Junction to what, Fruitland? Is that 105 Fruitland?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So is that a higher priority than 89 to 93 in Bluefield?
89 is Scott City.
Yeah, that's Route AB, or no, Scott City, yes, sorry, yes, Scott City. Route AB is exit 91. Nash Road.
Probably similar.
I don't know what the truck traffic, I mean, I guess we do have the truck traffic from PNG coming out to the interstate that way at exit 105. But you do have a lot of truck traffic, going to the port as well. So
Yeah.
it probably is about equal. I don't really know what that
What
looks
about in
like.
terms of, let's see, this is
I'd rank 89 higher.
capacity.
Or the 380 acre industrial park at Scott City, there's a lot of stuff happening there that might increase
Okay,
traffic.
so 89 to 93, 89 to 93 would be phase 3, and then 99 to 105 would be phase 4.
I think so.
Is that right?
So what, to get like fiscally constrained here for this list, tier 1 was gonna be Shawnee and Ozark. Jumping to tier 3, we're leaving exit 93. And then these 2 were gonna be tier 2, Bloomfield Road overpass. And then I'm not hearing all the conversation. I had 55 add lanes from exit 93 to 96. Are you guys talking about on the unfunded needs list, changing the limits?
No, they were talking about at phase 4, which one should be higher between 89, 93 and 99 to 105.
But that, we won't have room for that on these will take up all your funds right here.
Correct.
Right, this is tier 3 and it's the phase portion. We're only proposing phase 1 currently, but we're identifying what phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 is. Yeah, so we're not really adding to it.
Okay.
It's still phase 1.
I think you got the right stuff there.
Yeah. Okay.
We all set on that? Chairman, so just say the motion was amended. Okay. That it for the unfunded needs list?
No.
Going on multimodal.
Yeah, so this one should be easier. I got with our transit, our port, and aviation. So they already have all of their projects in there with some estimates. Jenny did the prioritization already for hers. This group typically weighs in on the bike ped transportation mode. A couple of comments I have. Rodney, I wanted to check with you if it's okay to remove the Route D West Independence and Broadridge crossing because of the TAP.
Yes, for those. Are those 1 projects or 2 or 2?
It's kind of in the middle where you see BPs on the road. Just Route D West Independence.
Yes, we got a grant and we're in design. So we'll get rid of that.
And then similarly, what about Route D and then the Rosebud? I think,
Yeah, same project.
yeah, yep.
And the next one.
Jackson Middle School.
The
Broadridge Middle
entrance,
School.
Yeah.
that's not okay.
Yeah, all 3 of those are lumped into 1 project.
Take those out. 2, I thought I'd propose to add is since we are getting rid of some pedestrian crossings, adding crossing at Kings Highway 61 and Independence. And then similarly, Kings Highway /61 and William Street pedestrian crossing.
Sounds good.
Any other thoughts? Folks are okay with that?
Yes.
Good.
All right.
Ready for motion on that, or
Yes.
no motion on the multimodal part of the unfunded needs list?
So moved.
Second,
Second, Rodney.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right. You ready for the
Yes.
regional connection study? Okay.
So everybody should have access to the draft. It's on our FTP site. I've been providing the link to folks. Rodney's issued comments. I've issued my comments to the consultants. I'd asked the group now, are we ready to release it for public comment, or have you not had an opportunity to weigh in on it? You'd like an opportunity and you want us to hold off?
I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I don't know.
You can issue your comments with the public.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jackson is satisfied with the report.
I mean, they have done a really good job presenting, giving us updates and going over the content and recommendation. The main thing is, it's that north trail, right? The south, use that underpass, so that's what we were looking for. The whole purpose of this was to do the analysis, get the input, and come up with a recommended alignment, and I think they've done a really good job of doing everything to get to that point. The rest of it's so many things towards the content.
Well, following this meeting then tomorrow, I'll put out a public statement saying it's ready for public comment, and I'll work with our consultants on coordinating potentially last public engagement if we feel it's warranted. Other than that, develop a recommendation.
Do we need a motion for this?
Yes, let's go ahead.
A motion,
I'll make the motion.
second,
Second.
Rodney?
all in favor?
Aye.
And finally, the Title VI program.
We had issued a task order to KLP Engineering to help us this year with the Title VI program update. Last project we got started this fiscal year, and they were able to complete all of their updates, and I provided a draft. We had a printed copy of the draft. And I asked this group to entertain a motion to release for public comment.
So moved.
What kind of changes were made this time?
A lot of just reassessing the demographics, a lot of the tables you see. those are
What had really changed on the demographic?
Nothing
Anything?
substantial.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have a motion then?
Yeah.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ready for the member reports? Jake is not able to be here, but he gave me an update for the state of Gerardo. As far as our TTF programs, we've got a couple projects in the TTF 5 program we're still working on. First one is Main Street from Roberts to Cape Rock. Finalizing the contract documents to issue for bid. And Penn Street from Broadview to Carruthers, that project has been essentially put on the shelf. There were several issues there. So those funds were reallocated to make improvements to North Spring Street, Broadway to Lexington. And we're working on the plans to prepare the bid package for that one.
That's needed. That would be needed.
Okay, TTF 6, Spring Street, which is, I believe, from 74 to Southern Expressway. Fronberger was awarded that contract, and they've started it. Work's underway. It started back in March. Burling Street, in-house designs underway. Lexington projects, the eastern end of it from Cape Rock to Big Bend is complete, and now we're moving to the Perryville. The Lexington Perryville intersection, probably next week. Veterans Memorial Drive Phase 6, he doesn't actually have an update on that, so I'm assuming there's been no change. That one was approved for acquisition and grading, but not construction. So I don't believe we've completed in the acquisition. So, not much. And then again, in the TTF 7, grant projects, we've already started design for phases 1 and 2 of the Cape Rocks. Well, actually, no, he's got that under grant projects. That's the TAP project for phases 1 and 2 of the Cape Rock Drive sidewalks. Designs underway. And we're going to be doing some tree removal. And then the Cape Rock Trail, also TAP projects underway. And then for maintenance projects, concrete street repair, 2025, going council this month. And the 2025 asphalt overlay beginning today. And last year's concrete street repair, of course, we talked about working on Cape Rock, East Highway to Perryville, and then from Perryville to Lexington. That started last week. Perryville's closed with detours. And our capital improvement sales tax, this is NKE underway. I'm not sure what the project is. And then TTF 7, since it's been approved, we're going to start putting together a consultant pool so that we can get our general services agreements in place, and then we'll issue task orders for specific projects as the funding comes in. That's it for Cape. City of Jackson, Robin?
Yeah, I have a page and a half, but due to time constraints, I'm gonna hit you with three of the major projects. East Main Street sidewalk, that's MoDOT tap. We got 2 bids that were opened on April 22nd, and Lobby Cement Finishing is the low bidder at just over $503,000. That's within budget. So the mayor and the board will award that contract on May 19th. We're excited about that. We also opened bids for the Sunset Hills Bridge Replacement Project. That's MoDOT Pro. 3 bids received, and it looks like our contract will be awarded to Puts Construction. We already awarded it, this Monday for $407,000 and some change. And then lastly, the Deerwood Drive roundabout, Highway 61, MoDOT cost share. I believe our engineer, Lockmuller, has submitted plans to MoDOT for a construction permit. So as soon as we get that, I think we're going to be out to bid on that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ronnie. Let's see, Jay had to leave. Mark?
I don't have anything to report.
Judy?
Nothing new.
Here, Joe's not here. Drew?
Just working on, finished up the current tip amendment that we just voted on. Again, working on the new full tip update. Just a couple of months with the new fiscal year.
Thank you. Chad had to leave. Takes us to MoDOT.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to quickly mention that the STIP was released this morning by the Highway Commission for public comment. That will run through June the 6th. And then they will look to approve that at their meeting on July the 10th. The high priority and funded needs list, we pretty much beat that to death. There were relevant for this group, SEMO Port did get one project, and I may have mentioned this at the last meeting. They got a ground storage that was funded from the high priority unfunded needs list. So that's good. I can look in my thing here. I'll look it up, Mark. The list, we're gonna, update those. I'm sure Mike has probably already walked over and given this list to our design group, so they can go ahead and start up giving us updates on the estimates for tiers 1, 2, and 3. And we'll get those back out for review. And we will have a public meeting. Usually that meeting happens in early August. We don't have a date yet. Last year's meeting was held at SEMO RPC. The year before was held, I think in Dexter at Boot Hill RPC. So I don't really know where this one will be, but we typically have one meeting in the district to try to get public comment on those. Those are usually not very well attended. So we would encourage people to come out and see those. And lastly, we are beginning work on our asset management plan. Our pavement specialist is out driving the roads and getting updates on that. So that's basically the prep work for the next step that we'll be doing, which will be the 27 through 31 step. The one that's put out for public comment today is the 26 through 30. Time flies. That's all that I have. Corbin?
I've got some updates on some projects similar to what we've been talking about in the last few months. As everybody probably knows, Emerson Bridge work has started. We have head-to-head as of Monday. We'll be doing some work on the cable connections to the overhangs. Jackson Lighting Agreement's getting very close. We're in communications with the city of Jackson on finalizing that. Route 177, we're doing some edge treatments down the highway to the south. And then the last thing I would hit on is Route Y bridge replacement. Everything's on schedule and the invents are in.
Anything else from MoDOT?
I just wanted to mention the tap call is now open. The specific date you need to know if it's on MoDOT right away, your application needs to be in for review by June 13th. It's on the website, the dates, and I think the final date for it to be in is July 11th or 12th, somewhere in there, but they'll be awarded in September. So
This is design only, right?
yeah, you're, what do you mean design only?
Well, we were told that the applications for this round are not for actual construction.
Oh, yes, it's for, we'll have enough funds for design only. They're pretty, for every project, we should have enough money for the PE. By the time it gets to construction obligation, we should have a new transportation bill. That's what they're hoping, because it's usually a year and a half before you're ready for your second obligation, so.
So
Yeah.
then is the idea that, I'll talk to you.
Okay, but yeah, that's it, that's one of the changes, but we'll still work it the same way. And then hopefully the money comes in, I guess. That's what they're doing.
At least there'll be plans on the shelf.
Yes, so, because if they wait until they have total funding for everything, it's gonna put this your new projects a year behind right at the beginning, so. That's all I got.
It's not here. It's not here. Is that it?
Yes. that's
Anything on
it.
staff report?
Nope.
All right. Any other business? Not only entertain a motion to adjourn.
So.
Second. All in favor? All opposed?
Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Stay back on track.
Yeah. Going forward, this may 493. So the total
Is the idea though, that basically the whole project?
So who was the person
Is
saying?
it-
The full amount is going to be part of the play for.
I mean,
Yes.
well, we've been doing, even that.
We may do
Maybe you guys face the same thing. We've got this one now where we're giving people an extra years on project. Say, they have so many months, whatever. Yeah, we've got to extend it out.
We have.
Yeah. You know, I'm hoping you've got, I don't know if in your district, that is ever. I've never been like that. Cause I was hoping you'd be like, oh, you haven't seen that before, and it comes back. Okay.
But there's a lot of things that
Yeah.
there's a lot of different.
It almost makes me wonder, if it's actually hard of a lot at some point. A bunch of our contractors.
So I'm asking questions.
And now we've got city projects and a bunch of. People are doing
Probably
some of
needs
those,
to-
major contractors, subcontractors, whatever. And I'm happy about that. But I think that was also part of the deal.
But you want like
Well,
construction and everything.
Yes.
else budget.
Yes.
We can't see.
Because I guess we're
Prices start going up, we've got less contractors and all. They would be like, hey, let's go ahead and make sure projects. They're awesome. You know, and if you like it, good, if you don't. You'll end up rebidding that project. We, here in town.
I just don't
on
know.
projects on Kings Highway, I said,
But yes.
Well, Jeremy and I
We're central office. Said,
Like,
I came in,